Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, uranium is having a few days of bidding. That's fine. That's fine. I just did the URNM, short-term update here like 10 minutes ago. Check it out. Yes, we're getting some bits in here, but again, I still think short-term we have a lot of resistance to get through before I'm really bullish. I think we need to get above 52, 53 before I'm saying, all right, the pullback is over. So yeah, let's see if we can do that, but I think we need 5-7 trading days before we know exactly if that is the case. And with that said, before I go into the video today, which will be uranium miners in the USA and in Canada, it's been roughly 8 days since we looked into those. And yeah, if you want to become a member of the YouTube channel, you'll get access to the private Twitter, and I will post, the better setups on the private Twitter, but also I will do 3 to 4 weeks, a daily, 3 to 4 videos per week, and update, the people on the entries, the trades, and all that good stuff on YouTube as well. So you will get it both on YouTube and the same on Twitter. If it is something for you, check it out. But anyways, uranium miners, let's see where we are. As always, we will use the weekly candlesticks, the weekly time frame, and the 30-weekly moving average to define the trend. Again, if you're new to trading or new to investing, I will highly suggest use the weekly with the 30-weekly moving average and go from there. You will leave out a lot of the noise, and it is just really, really a good way to get started. So there it is, U.UN. The Sprott Physical Uranium Trust had, a bigger pullback, 20%. Obviously, looking back, you can see here 20%. That's not much. It's not a little, but it's definitely not the biggest pullback. Nothing new really here. Yes, we're pulling back here. We're almost at the all-time highs, which is that blue line here. I think we are going to hit that before anything major is going to happen. Still within the beautiful, lovely yellow uptrend. Right now, we have that blue line there, that trend line here, connecting the previous highs. You can see it there, and we're actually finding some support for now. 30 weekly coming up nicely. So yeah, definitely, as mentioned, the long-term trend is still heavily up. And we're working off heavily overbought conditions, and we're now back to the 50 level here on the RSI. I think the daily should be somewhat overbought. Yeah, almost overbought here. So let's see if we can get that bounce here and slowly start to curl higher. So yeah, as long as we're in this beautiful yellow uptrend, it's really a no-brainer. Obviously, if we were to correct heavily, let's say getting down to here, that would sting heavily, and that would take half a year worth of time. But as per here, one of the trades that we're in, we entered here on that break there from that long-term inverted head and shoulders breakout retest, and now we went higher, and yeah, we came to the all-time highs, and now we're getting today a 15% pullback here. Very standard stuff, getting above. You see that very often, getting above the previous all-time high, and then you reject it, and then you get a second chance, and then you go higher. Still within that beautiful green parallel channel here. Lovely, nothing has changed there, and we have a target up here at roughly 11. So definitely, yes, today is not the best day of all, but we came pretty damn fast from, in like a month or so, we rallied 150%. So pullbacks are needed. Excuse me, AEC, a very small miner, I think it is. Yeah, not small, about 100 million. Basically, what I want you to want to show here now, which is important, and maybe the only line that's important for the upside, is that blue line there. We have touched it three times now. And I think if we get a fourth touch here, that will be a break. That will be your entry. Long-term stuff, we have broken the downtrend, the golden downtrend. After the break, we both flagged here, around that long-term golden trend line, we broke out, we retested, and I think it's just a matter of time before we get above that 1.11. 0.11, excuse me, and then AEC looks really, really, really good. BSK still, hugging that lower trend line. We broke out from that blue downtrend there, but we can't seem to really lift, you know, to get some air under it. Now the level to get above is 0.085. But yeah, definitely still hugging here. Here we had we had two, you know, mega rejections, you know, in one way. Here we just can't seem to get things going really. Cameco, long term, just look at it here. Beautiful stuff. Actually, it's up 1,000% ever since the March 2020 lows. The big entry, in my view, were here, you know, late November, if you were to play that breakout here. And ever since, you know, from 12 to 50 in like 2 years' time, that's quite a good investment. And the fact that we are down only 20% now and people are insanely bearish, in my view, is just, I mean, you have gained what 600-700%, and now you're down 20%. I mean, it's yeah, it is what it is. Still within this green uptrend, as long as we are beautiful here. We are below the 30 weekly, which is not, you know, ideal, obviously, but then again, let's see how it acts here. The green uptrend is the main one, and yeah, Cameco still, you know, doing fine, but it did come down quite hard from its was it Q4 earnings release a few weeks ago. Alaska broke out heavily from that triangle here with big volume, left the gap here, broken out, retested and hold. Now we're back in. We closed the gap and then some. Now we're basically trying to bounce here again. A false breakout here is definitely not ideal for this stock here. So let's see if it wants to go all the way down to the lower side, which is very often seen after a false breakout. You usually go to the other side of your formation, which very easily could lead us to 0.3 here, really, for Alaska. Denison Mines actually looks also long-term incredibly strong. We had that major 1, 2, 3 lower lows. You can see it. You can see it here. Boom, boom, boom. And that's the typical, you know, end of trend kind of stuff when you have the third spike low, which is here, March 2020. That triangle there was the big one. It's not drawn perfectly here, but you get the idea. And now we came here, massive move up. And then we started to consolidate, breaking out. And right now we are basically, you know, breakout, retest, breakout, retest. So now we are actually retesting a very important line as well. That high over there from April 2011, there it is, and we're retesting it now here. So overall, again, Denison from a long-term perspective, it looks incredibly well. We're now bouncing up the 30 weekly roughly, and that trend line here. So if this holds, again, until proven otherwise, insanely bullish price action for Denison Mines. Here we have Encore Energy. I want to just zoom in on the pricing, on the previous price action here for the past few years. This was, you know, an internal triangle that broke, retested, and then we actually broke the bigger wolf flag there, breakout, retesting, and now we tagged the all-time high more or less, and now we're pulling back, still within the blue uptrend. 30 weekly is coming up. Again, overall, the same thing is just that the long-term weekly uptrend for most of the miners is still very, very much intact, even though we have had, you know, 1 month of downtrend, which feels like an eternity, I know, but still, the price action is just textbook stuff here. Breaking out from a bull flag like this usually is, you know, that triangle there, or that top there from the bull flag is usually a pit stop for traders, you know, taking profits, and then typically you can get some sort of correction, and then you ultimately will go higher due to the fact that you had this move here, that bull flag, and that usually points to a lot higher prices. But that flagpole high there, as mentioned, very, very often you see profit taking there, which is understandable for people trading it short term. Makes total sense. FCU, yellow uptrend there, beautiful. It's a bigger one, I will give it that. But however, it is still my take that we're going to visit that at one point in time. And again, you can see here we tag the bull flag pole high there, and we're getting some sellers. Same thing again here. Some sellers add that high, makes total sense. And yeah, in my view, we are just still above the 30 weekly. Again, same thing again. Most miners are in roughly the same patterns, and this is no different. I do think that we are going to visit the all-time high here. within 2024 at roughly 1.7. And then ultimately, I think the end of this stock here will be roughly close to that big yellow uptrend. But again, we have to see as price evolves if that really is the case. Find is one of the stocks that got hammered a lot more. Even the setup here was just incredibly, incredibly strong. In my view here, we broke out heavily from a downtrend falling wedge here into that yellow, compression, and then we blasted high and then whoop, straight back down. I don't know exactly what caused this, if this was just ETF buying. But again, we came all the way down for the retest, bounced, and then we puked big time. Big volume is coming in now. So I do think that we are at the end of at least this trend here. We will definitely, in my view, see a bounce here at these lows. We just need to see if it can recover or if it, for some reason, just pukes completely. So yeah, definitely, getting hammered here for the entire February, to my surprise. Getting hammered a lot more than the others. Forces Metals, golden trend line, the big one, the one that I use to define every. If I can find it, it's what defines my chart. And we had that big breakout here. Yes, the entry in my view was here late 2020 when we broke that formation, and we came all the way up here. And ever since we have just been, going down, broken out, and ever since bull flag, bull flag, bull flag. 30 weekly coming up beautifully, and this trend is strong. Everything, for now at least, is just bullish consolidation, bullish consolidation. Yeah, we know the next one as well. Forces Metals, in my view, that bull flag there points to higher prices, really. But again, I will again expect, when we get into that high there, I will expect some selling. Would be textbook standard stuff, really. I've removed some lines here on the FUU, and basically my take is that is the neckline, that is the inverted head and shoulders. We also have the golden here. It's a bit different, but it's still, worth noting the highs there. They're breaking out again, so you can see the interactions with it. And in my view, even though this one is kind of messy, the target for that inverted head and shoulders is still 3.3, mentioned many times. And I think as soon as we leave these highs here, that fake out there, we are off for the races. We're still making weekly, higher highs and whole lows, higher highs and higher lows over here. So let's see how it acts here. Definitely, again, you can see sellers coming in here. We're spiking above and then sellers coming in. We see that very often. So for now, it's still good. Global Atomic, I'll not dive into because I think there's a very, very, very good low risk reward setup here right now for Global Atomic. And I will share that in the private section for YouTube and on Twitter. So I will not go through that here. This is Goviax. Weird chart again. We have that downtrend. We're breaking out, but we're in a bear flag now. So I'm getting mixed signals here. 30 weekly do come out somewhat nicely there, but again, I'm a bit confused here. So let's see how it acts out. It is for some reason a bit more bearish than bullish, I guess. We might have a big flush before we go higher, but again, that bear flag is confusing me really. ISO energy. You can see here the 30 weekly coming up. We're finding support. We did sell off quite heavily, a bit more compared to the others, 30% here. Again, you can see we came into the triangle high there, and we're getting that, wick, or that, peak above, and then we get down again. A bit deeper than I would have preferred, actually. But for now, we're finding support, and hopefully it holds at this 30 weekly moving average for ISO. But overall, the pattern is still strong, pole, flag. And again, when we get up to here, I do expect, a lot of selling as usual. CAP, the good old Kazatomprom. Blue wedge here, it broke here late 2023. And then we came into the news that came out somewhere around here. I can't remember. But still, we haven't touched that high from 2021. I do think that will be something that we will do here very shortly. You can still see we have some sort of It's not the perfect rounding, but again, you are still seeing weekly higher highs and higher lows. Yes, we had major overbought here. That's getting worked off again with some negative divergence. So as long as we just go sideways and not crash, the overbought, divergence is not a big thing. Here we have Laramide, stunningly strong long-term channel trend line, excuse me, broken there. Retest, and then we have a beautiful, what I love to see in a chart is breaking out, and then we have that 3 impulses, lower lows, into that long-term trend line there, and then we blast. Incredibly textbook stuff and insanely strong. And yeah, we are going, in my view, to visit that triangle high up here, which is, mega. It's actually a big resistance. You can actually extend this one all the way out here. You can see there, and there. So it's a big resistance at 1.1 level. But I do think that is the short-term target of this triangle breakout here. We're getting up to there, and again, we're getting some sellers, and then, but ultimately, the move for that flagpole is a lot higher. That measured move, anyways. LEU. A bit concerned that we have a day where uranium miners are bouncing quite heavily. But again, LEU is just, getting down back through that blue triangle, but also back below the golden trend line coming from up here from the highs. I'm not quite sure why that is. The 30 weekly is now coming down, and meaning that we are making, probably lower lows and lower highs in a downtrend of the 30 weekly. I do expect a bounce here, and it needs to negate that 30 weekly moving average before we can start to say, hey, this is just, a blip below. But for now, concerning that it cannot perform as well today and yesterday compared to the others. Light bridge is just a sick puppet for now. It just can't seem to get a grip. Yes, we're grinding that white line here. So when it breaks, I do expect a spike. But again, overall, the fact that, it has done so poorly, it is almost back to the 2020 lows, is concerning to me. And there is a lot better place in the uranium sector than light bridge. Mega uranium. I want to show you the long-term base, which is just stunningly strong. You can see here we have like three supports broken out into that blue, and then we just blasted higher. Zooming in though, we came in again, got above these highs here and then back below. Basically today we are finding support at the 30 weekly moving average, still within that uptrend channel that started in roughly 2023. And you can see here we tagged that high at roughly 0.42, and we got rejected here intraday. You can see it there on the daily. So, but again, we have a doji, and we have, from a candlestick point of view, if we close above the previous red one, that is a long entry triggered with a stop below there. So we need to get back above that 0.42 for mega. Long term, this is probably one of the charts that is the most sexy. And I could see, we go into the next few years, we can actually go way higher for mega uranium. The name itself is just amazing, right? So good. NXE is finding support at the upper trend line of that bull flag. You can see it there. A bit of a dip below, obviously, but we are finding support right now, getting a bounce 4% today. 30 weekly is coming up with a lot of, high angle, just like over here, just blasting. And I think this will keep going. I think this is just, maybe that one right there. First one, second. So I think we have a long way to go for NXE. Also, you can see this overall bigger channel here. So I do think if we get up to, let's call it roughly, we are now at 10. So if we get up to roughly 20 here, that is big resistance coming in. Potentially, obviously, because we've only had 3 touches, but I do expect, 20, we're going from the teens to the 20s. There will be some big resistance there, but that's not to worry about for now. Sask, I have covered a bit. We don't have much data, and we had a bit of a nice move here, false breakout, and then we just came all the way down again, finding some bidders here on the lows. Again, I would be if you are interested in a stock like this and you believe that it will perform well, buying down here, I mean, wouldn't hurt really. I think what happens if we extend this one, depending on how we extend it, if we get back above, it's bullish, but again, we have so little data, and I'm not convinced just yet. SMR, actually, SMR, which is one of the ones that has just underperformed heavily, and then the whole situation with the lost contract and whatever it was, just completely collapsed it, many percent since. We drew this last time, and double bottom. That is the line to get above the highs there, and then we drew that lovely drawing of that bull flag here actually today, 15%. Wow, amazing. I do think right now we're going to target up here, and then we will see what happens. But definitely, that was the capitulation move, as we also discussed. And then you don't know when it's going to stop, obviously. But when you see a huge reversal, that's okay, that's probably the low, and then we almost made that double bottom there. Looks quite nice, but will I be interested in it at the moment? No. You can still see the 30 weekly here is coming down heavily. So it needs to have at least a few months here of digesting that momentum before we can maybe get interested in SMR. Maybe. Sky Harbor also looks a little like the mega long term, that in this case it is a shoulder, head, shoulder, bottoming pattern, and the structure over here is just looks incredibly nice here. That sideways, we almost have a flat bottom, and then we have that trend line here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is my take. You can see we are finding support at that internal golden there. It is my take. If we touch it again, it's going to break for the 6th time here. And then that could actually trigger an avalanche of higher prices when leaving that long-term base. We have the downtrend over here, basing, and then we could actually enter into the stage 2 uptrend. But again, we needed to break. Until then, it's still, just coiling up here, breaking out, testing between the levels, and hopefully it goes higher. Hopefully. UEC up 4% today. That's nice. Are we closing above that high over there? Almost. I think we are actually. Bit of a messy chart, I will say. But the takeaway is green uptrend here, beautiful. And as long as we are in that uptrend, ideally with the 30 weekly coming out there, it is just looking incredibly strong. I do again think here that the end of this UAC, just like UAC, uptrend or bull market, will probably be, when we get into that upper trend line of that green uptrend channel right there. That is my take. So when we get, let's say, if we come up here and then we go higher and we take it there, I mean, that would be a place to, in my honest opinion, to take a lot of profit. We are at 6 now. So again, getting to 40 to 40, 50, depending on how we get there, it could be a place to take a lot of profit. Again, it depends on how you get there and at what speed. URG, 1, 2, 3. It is my take that we're going to consolidate and then we're going to go higher again. This pattern here points to at least we're going to the all-time highs, and in order to do that, we need to break out. And that one is for some reason very sick. So again, here URG, when we break, let's call it above 1.9 to maybe 2. When we confirm above there, we have broken a 15-year long mega resistance trend line. Roy. This one here, it was just really nice to see that inverted head and shoulders broke above, and then as most of the other uranium stocks we have dribbled off for the past month here, getting back below the neckline and back into that bullish falling wedge. Not ideal to have that breakout to the upside there. And we have a low here that I think is very important to hold at roughly 2.4, 2.45 to be exact. We did break out from that long-term, well, shorter-term-ish golden trend line there. And so it's still not bad, but again, that kind of false breakout and with that amount of selling into it, could be better. UUU is actually one of the charts that I have a lot of faith in. Again, I've gone into details on the private Twitter. If you want to take that analysis, you should check it out. But we're still coiling up here, so nothing to mention. Again, the detailed stuff you can find if you will become a member, and also the targets and why I think it is a stock that is worth to be recognized with. UX, that is the pure uranium energy, a very small one. The market cap is 1.5 million with an M, but we are toying here with that double rail, breaking out deep retest, but also note that bear flag, so mixed signals, and I think we will need a few weeks to see if what and why is going on here. I think we need to get above roughly that level to negate the bear flag, but again, yeah, it is a 1.5 million, so it's very, very, very small. YCA, this is yellow cake. Nothing new, same thing, green uptrend, lovely stuff here. And I do think we will tag it at some point. It will not be the end of its bullish move. But again, you can see here the internals of finding supports and resistance. So nothing new really here, to be honest. Again, we only had a 14% pullback here, and people are insanely bearish. Yes, we can go some further down, but again, here, 55%, 25%, and a range here between up and down 20%. So this is just a small pullback, working off a lot of overbought condition here. Please note that we have the two higher highs, but also the RSI is high. So we don't have any negative divergence on the weekly. I think we have on the daily, if I were to be exact. Yeah, you can see the daily stuff here. So we also oversold here again on the daily. So 30 weekly coming up, same thing again here. So long term, my take on uranium, incredibly bullish as long as we are in this weekly stage 2 uptrend. And we haven't broken those structures yet for like 80 to 90% of the stocks. Short term is a bit more iffy. I just did, as mentioned, the uranium URNM, 1 hourly update. So yeah, that's it, guys. Many charts to go through, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have an amazing day, guys, and we will see you in the next one. Hopefully. Bye.